we go to, the things we read and the things we watch also shape people. I mean, people come up with things that have never been in their lineage at all, but it is because of the people that they have met. Somebody will have visited a different country, gone to school in boarding, gone to high school, something, comes up with certain things that they also learned from other people. So we can't blame it all on the parents and genes. Personalities developed also from the environment and the people that we have. So we take responsibility where we need to.
So it could be,
Yeah.
it could be anything. It could be
Nonsense.
maybe haukuwa uko hivi, but because you're exposed to a certain environment,
Yeah,
school
environment.
and friends,
Yeah.
then you pick it up. But that's you know, about maybe as you wrap up about the money, they could be also parents. Different children have different, and I guess this will also kind of drive into CJ's point. There will be that one child who is responsible. You know, akiambiwa take care of your people, and
He will.
atapika, atafanya hizi vitu. It's good that you said he. Shout out to the boy child. Yes, akiambiwa pika hivi atafanya. But then there are those ones who it's just their nature. Hawana.
Yeah.
And so you could favor the one who is a bit more responsible, especially when it comes to later on in life.
And also,
managing
it could go vice versa. You could take all your attention to the child that looks like they will not be responsible, so that they don't become irresponsible. So what happens is, you see the child who is huyo anajua akiamka naoga naenda shule na nini, but kuna ule wa kujikokota. So all your attention goes there to the child who looks like aki huyu asipowekelewa macho sasa ni hivyo mimi na yeye tumepoteleano. So what happens is you fail favoring or giving attention to the one who is responsible, but all your attention goes to the one who looks like wanafaa kunyoroshwa. So the one who is even responsible feels neglected, and they're like, where am I being neglected? And in real sense, I am the one who is upright. So it could go either way. And also, like the way CJ asked, what is favoritism, by the way? What is that? Is it, are you buying shoe for this? You know, because this is a term that is, we cannot actually define it. But as a parent, I think you sometimes feel, but also you can tell when you need to create a balance. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, you should have to, there's a balance. When you shut up here, you come out, will responsible one. But it goes on, it might start small with taking care of people, but I think when it gets dicey, because if you're the one who's always expected to take care of people growing up, your siblings don't really mind because I take your responsibility. But now as you grow older, and now things like property come along, inheritance come along, the parents seem to favor the one who alikuwa nakaa responsible. What do you think?
Vile tu unaona pale unasema the parents seem to favor. Unaona? If we live in denial is when problems arise. We need to understand or accept there is a problem that occurs mostly in families, because vile CJ amesema, you will go out there and acquire a character that is not in this family. And when I come with it, you need to understand that this is something acquired. Okay? If I wasn't like this when I went and came back, because when I was growing up, you saw me, and if you accepted me then, the way I was, and you are not favoring the other one over me, and I've come back a different person, it is upon you to realize that. Because once you're changing, mostly you don't realize, like we say, fans understand football more than the player. Because we are watching.
Yeah, they're watching. They can see somebody coming with a tackle.
Right.
Yes.
Get. Now when you're changing, you won't realize you're changing. But people around you will realize. And the first people to realize is your family. And when they realize, they need to let you know.
If
they
they're
need to
present,
yes,
that is.
Exactly. So when you come back, say if you went somewhere and you've come back, and now they've realized this person is changed. First of all, they need to understand the language you understand. You know? Ni language gani mtoto anaelewaga, tuongee naye, tumwambie hapa na hapa amebadilika. Because if you don't do that, you will isolate this person, and it is probably not their fault. They don't know they have acquired something different that you people don't relate with.
But also
then you isolate them by so doing. Unaget? So at least try and make it known to this person the reason as to why we will stop having these conversations with you, or while making decisions not consider you. It is because you've become someone else, and it is difficult to deal with you. People need to know why things are being done to them. Unaelewa?
Yeah.
They won't blame anyone. Like,
Yeah.
yo, they told me when they were doing it. You clean your hands.
From the beginning.
But
Yeah,
also
man.
speaking as a parent, because I think all of us are speaking as children. So we and what does mean that CJ tuongee kama wazazi.
Hata huyu ni mzazi.
Na huyu.
But now let me put
Kwanza
myself
mimi
in.
niko na hiyo kesi. Deal nayo juzi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, my boy is 10 years old. And he's thinking I favor the sister more. Unajua kwa nini? I sat down and realized it is true. You know why? Mimi nimelelewa Eastlands. Unaget? And huyu kijana sitaki agrow akiwa mpole. Nataka tu akimrui kama mimi.
Yeah.
So nakuaga namuitaga Buda. So that time I call him, awe Buda ni aje tuende nampeleka academy anacheza ball. You get such things. Now the sister on the other hand, she is very soft spoken. Sasa ni responsible. So namuitaga mom. You see the difference? Huyu namuitaga Buda na mharden. Huyu sister yake ni kwa mpole na yeye. So I forget this also is still, yes, he's a boy, but he's still a child. He needs to be called those names. And buy you ice cream when he wants to. Unaget? But you are doing it subconsciously. You think it is love. You think you're hardening this boy.
Yes.
But he's anaona vitu pause nafanywa huyu pia anafaa kufanywa. So as a parent, you kwanza acknowledge na accept. It is very important.
Yeah, but also as now your children have grown, wameondoka, then you have the ones who are responsible, then you have just others who have refused to take responsibility. They have refused to own up. They sell everything. They are the ones who are, they disrupt ukiwa, as in, unajua kuna ule tu mtoto. So as a parent, and maybe CJ can assist with this, how do you go about correcting and disciplining? Because at one point I need to tell you, hey Willis, hizi mienendo yako, it's costing us. It's costing us our peace, it's costing us, you know, even property, you're doing this and this without looking like, because you see, as the victim, as the person who is probably responsible and they're dealing with things and they just, you know, they need help but they don't know how to correct their ways, they could feel like the parent is favoring, oh, unanioneanga tu. Na mimi hivyo ndio niko. You know, how do we, because it's a very dicey situation, because it could be this person, he has amesomeshwa, there's nothing that he hasn't been given. Even the ones who are responsible, they've tried to assist, but it's simply not working. So as a parent, how do you go about such a situation so that doesn't look like it's favoritism, but you're still calling out your child who is just, or do you let them be? Yeah.
CJ, what do you think?
Well, you know, I think at some point, we just have to know that you cannot be a parent and walking on eggshells at the same time. You have to be a parent in the lives of these people. So you cannot be afraid to confront wayward behavior, because if you don't do that as well, later on, this kid will turn out to be something else and they will probably be blaming you for not having been there. So we try nowadays so much to become the friends of our kids. That's not a problem, but parents must understand that their primary role is to be a parent, to guide, to provide, to protect. Sometimes you protect the kid from themselves because they have acquired or developed or they're displaying very harmful traits that will harm them. So you try to protect them from themselves, the decisions that they make. Sometimes you will have to say no to something that they love because in your knowledge and experience, you know that this will be harmful to them at this particular stage. Sometimes you will say no. For example, things like, okay, I want to go for a sleepover over here, and you say no, because you know that it will distract them from whatever they need to do at that particular point. Or you will say no to things that they want to have. Probably some things that they want to have that other children have, and you say no because you know at that particular point it is not helpful to them. You cannot also be a parent that is walking on eggshells. On the other hand, you cannot also be projecting your traumatic past on your children as well. You see, when Shatta is trying to raise a hard guy, he's living in his past.
Yeah, man.
He's living in the fears that he had. He's trying to pass. He would, and you do that very unconsciously without knowing.
Yeah.
You have these fears, and you just begin to pass them on to this other kid, who will probably growing up in a very different age from that particular point. So a parent needs to also, one, sit with other people and be checking out whether your parenting is right. Because It's something that we just fell into. Well, in the part of the wives of the baby mamas getting the children, that was a bit natural. But now the parenting process is something that you have to learn as well. You have to continually try and update your parenting skills as well. What are you doing that you should not do, and what are you not doing that you should do? Are you supposed to communicate better? Same way you'd be a manager and go to school because you want to improve your managerial skills. So parental skills are also acquired. Some of those are communication. How do you handle conflict? How do you manage the dynamics? Because if you have several children, you're running a team. So those are team dynamics. How do you manage the different people? How do you get everybody getting on board, going the same direction without making them lose their individual identity? How do you identify the individual strengths of the person and begin to build on those individual strengths, like Shata's mother, so somebody who can communicate and talk and say, okay, let's work on this strength that you have and let this be something that is brought on the table. How do you make the other team members see every individual as an important part, an integral part? How do you deal with their rivalry? How do you deal with accusations, cliques in there? You just have to, as a parent, also go to a place where you have to acquire skills because you are running a whole organization right there.
Yeah. Rivalries, understand now. Dealing with rivalry, because that's going to be there. There's even sibling rivalry. Always mention everybody are competing for attention, resources, and saying that najua sisi vile tumemoka huo jo nakanga kwa nyumba lakini father yake ni yangu.
I know.
You know, it gets to that point.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. So it's quite
you know, the more CG is talking about this, I'm like, parents need classes. As in, like, there needs to be, you know, and you know, most of the time we just think it's about bringing a child into this world, and as much as you say there's no manual, the more CG is speaking, the more I'm feeling like they're fundamentals to being a parent. It could not be a good one or an ideal one or a perfect one. There's no perfect parent, but things like communicating, you know, things like having to solve conflicts. Imagine if you have 4 children and
or 14
or 14 like our Jacob,
yeah, Jacob.
How do you go about? So the more we talk about this, the more I'm feeling like we need more forums for parents. We need people who have gone. I feel like we need mentorship for parents because you don't know and you're looking for money. You're looking, you're doing literally.
In the middle of it all.
You're in the middle of everything, paying bills. Nazma wasome. You don't want to slack on one side, and I'm like, yo, yeah. If
Actually,
you want to be a parent when you're out there,
I think that's another thing that you know. I don't think people talk about as much, and I think that probably ideally it's supposed to be. And I think we've talked about it how in terms of generation, right? So. Yes, your home will not exactly be the same as, say, your parents' home. They'll give you an example of the type of parent to be, and of course also sometimes the type of parent not to be, because you want to raise your children differently. But as Nonsense is saying, there seems to be some fundamentals. But then Shata took a world where now, like she quite rightly put it, you are trying to hustle. Yeah, you're trying to get some money. So for you, sometimes the expression of love could be simuna song, simuna kula.
Nimewalipia fees. Nini nyingine mnataka?
So what next?
Niki kimreta.
Nini nyingine mnataka?
Yeah.
But first of all, before nijibu hiyo, sisi kama hiyo mnakudili na watu wengi 4, 14. Sasa sisi advantage yetu tukiwa wengi hivyo, we had courts in the house.
Like a little court.
Like see mpaka levels. There is the high court, there is the court of appeal. And the Supreme Court was our dad. He was the Chief Justice. But before kesi imfikie ilikuwa na stages.
Lazima mjisovie huku chini.
Unajua sasa tuko na gap ya 20 years now, the big brothers. So they can handle cases as your parent.
So they became deputy parents literally.
They were deputy parents. So cases zikiarise kwanza wana deal nazo, zikiwashinda wanapelekea madhe, zikifika sasa pale ni mzee na wakaisha chini. Eba. That is an advantage of having a complex family also. But sasa coming to what you're saying, your expression of love to your family, what we need to do more is listen. Me, I tell people there's a reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Do more of the listening than the talking. Because I could be showing you love in the way you don't understand. I need to listen to you to know what
You
you're
know,
telling
when
me.
you've said ways you don't understand, I was watching, what do you call this? What daktari wa watoto wanaitangwaje?
Pediatrician.
Pediatrician.
Yes, and and a child psychology kusema even children have love languages.
Yes.
Mi hapo ndio tu nilimalizika kama mzazi. I just thought it is me and my partner, then children have love language.
In fact, it is you yourself first. So, for example, if your love language is touch, you should treat yourself to massages. If your love language is kusikiza, you should do more affirmations. If it is gift,
Now-
you should give to yourself. First, wewe.
Yes,
Then
then
your partner.
now, then
Then
a
your
child. And
Abo mnachoma.
yeah, they were explaining how to point them out, and I'm like, yeah.
Kuna wale watoto tu kazi yao ni kukuamilia kwa skirt.
Yeah, no, those
Unaenda bana, hao inakaa yao ni touch.
continue, sorry for that.
Yes.
So, as a parent, you need to establish that. You need to understand that there is a way I want to show these people love, but there is a way they want to be shown.
We should love.
Unaget, understand it. Start working towards that love. Unaelewa? Once you do that, hizo fundamentals, all of them will come through listening. When you listen, you gather. And now I know this is how I will handle this situation. This is how I will understand. There is a situation where we say you are the husband. Sindio, you grew up in a family where you felt your siblings were being favored. Sindio, assume Nonsizi is the wife. She grew up in a family where yeye ndo alikuwa favored. And both of you are parents. Wewe unafeeling disadvantaged na familia yenu. Huyo familia yao inafeeling ulikuwa advantaged of us. You've become one. Do you know the kind of dynamics are in that family?
Yeah.
And what those children will go through? Unaget? Sasa,
So the ones will suffer. I guess.
well, yes. And unless now you decide to listen and acknowledge. Sometimes you do a rain check on yourself. But then kitu ikwagi mbaya. People think ni umechizi when you sit down and start evaluating your life and you start thinking, is there a place I have unsolved issues with my parents? Do I feel that they favored someone over me? Because if it is deep down in you, it will manifest. And you will not know, but it will show through your actions to other people. Unaget? So before you do good unto others, do good unto you. Clean kwanza. Ujue, mimi sina unresolved issues na wazazi wangu. Because I'm becoming a parent also. I don't want to have those unresolved issues manifesting in my children. Unaelewa? So it's good to check on yourself. Yeah, man.
It's good to check on yourself. You have a few minutes left, so I guess we might start taking some of the final comments. CJ is in the beautiful island of Mombasa, enjoying the cool breeze as we suffer in Kanairo.
Baridi koku.
CJ, though, very interesting points have been raised in terms of favoritism, and we've asked a lot of questions. So what do you do now as the child? And you're not necessarily a teenager, probably you're in your 20s or 30s, and you realize that you are the one who is not being favored.
Well, if you're an adult, you
Yes.
have to ask yourself again, why? Whatever we call favoritism is either breakdown in communication or it's clogged communication, generally. It means you're not understanding each other. And it has been mentioned there, like, you need to, both the parent needs to understand how the child expects to be loved or how they express themselves. But if I'm an adult and I feel I wasn't the favored one, I have to also ask myself, do an introspection and ask myself, what caused the breakdown? Was it just my parents' predisposition? Was it my behavior? Was it my conduct? Was it a misunderstanding? Were there other issues that were playing around that time? Were they in financial strains? And then somebody seemed to be bringing in money while I was messing up with all my money, so they kind of looked at the other person as help at that particular point, because there are certain circumstances that are very temporary, and within that period you can lose somebody in a season of 1 year or 6 months when certain things are prevailing. It's just a matter of introspection. Then begin to establish communication with your parents. Try and see, is it something that you can work out? You may not be their favorite, but you'll still be their child. Just have a healthy relationship with them. As I said again, that word, favoritism, is just that's a relative stuff. But just make sure you have a healthy relationship with your parents, and if you're a parent, with your children. If you have a healthy one and you know that it is working for you, well, you've done your best.
All right. Well, looks like even kutakuwa as you wrap it up huku ndani tuanze. Okay,
like I would echo what CJ has said. At
Right.
the end of it all, it's about relationships. And the minute you understand people and how they want to be dealt with, and I think this also comes with age as you advance. If you're there and you're young, communication is always the key. Yani, you just say, you know what, I'm feeling like this is not happening, because just even give an example of a scenario. During this time, this happened, this did not happen, and like that. And also, if you guys grow now, you're grown, you're on our ages, and you're figuring that there's, like I had said, a parent who is trying to plant that discord seed. If you guys are united, work around it. You know, if it's a matter of taking care of your parents, if it's let's say hata mama akiwa mgonjwa anakuja Nairobi, muzungushe, wacha leo akae kwa Shata, kesho kwa Willis, siku nyingine ya tatu akae kwa Atemo. Asiseme ati kujanga peke yake, anaenda kwa Willis peke yake. So just know how to, because there's if all of you are united, then you'll be able to, of course, majority tell mom, okay, tumeamua hivi. So na kama ni you being unfavored because you don't have money, tafuta pesa tuna.
Guy.
Kuna tu zingine tu kama hivyo ndo kunaenda na kimefika kimeumana na pesa ndio inasemanga huko. Go hibernate, go mute everybody. Look for money, then one day chomoka na hiyo pesa.
CJ has a point of order. CJ has a point of order. CJ.
Yeah, you know, we have to also agree. Different people have different strengths. So if Willis's house can accommodate the parent, and I don't have capacity, let's not fight to host the parent. Let's just agree, send it to Willis, and then I will show up. It's not favor, it's capacity.
Kila mtu akuwe na capacity yake.
Tafuta pesa na ni kama hiyo ndio shida.
Yes. Shut up.
Iko hivi. Be the better person. Be the better person in life. If your parent is the way they are now, there is no changing them. You see? So it is upon you to realize, first of all, love yourself. Be contented with who you are. You see? And just make sure that which I feel, now I'm speaking as a person that was not favored. That which I felt when growing up will not be felt in my family.
Yeah, okay.
You know, my children will not feel that I love some than the other, because you know how it feels. You know, they say experience is the best teacher sometimes. You've experienced it. Don't trickle it down to your children. So, first of all, accept who you are. I am a grown-up. I am a big person. I went through this. It won't happen. It ends with me. It will not continue with my lineage. You see, when you make such a decision, you've saved hata watu Toyota grow, hata hiyo kitu haiko ndani yao, umeimaliza. It could be a family thing that has been happening, but when it got to you, ukaimaliza. It is doable. You just have to believe you can do it.
All right.
Physics says every action has a reaction of the same magnitude and strength.
You and I will talk nayo kwa shule. Thank you so much, 844. Speaking of 844, we'd like to end it there. Thank you so much. Speaking of 844, Cabinet Secretary Education, Professor Magoha, is at this moment, as you can see, they're launching the formal selection. When I cross over with that, we'll leave you with that. Asanteni sana. Here now is the CS.
Another excellent high-cost private schools where I took my son, represented here by that young lady there, I now forget, Jane Mwangi. So instead of saying, now, you know, you must give me allowance, why don't you go and take your child to another school and pay for it? So that you leave the chance to somebody from the slums who has earned that place. I'm challenging the people. And for me, after here, I'm going to switch off my phone. So don't even bother looking for me. I hope you are persuaded. In the selection, we have strictly applied the principles of equity, fairness, merit, transparency, inclusiveness, and affirmative action. in placing candidates to each school category. And that's why this placement has taken a little